Everyone, as we rush into this 21st science fiction century where everything you've ever heard of science fiction will come true, including living on Mars, including pandemics, unfortunately, who would think the 21st century would start badly with one of those things? But hopefully we'll come through it. We are now. But we are, as we're moving into the science fiction century and the world is becoming homogenized in its way of thinking, blended, if you like, in its way of thinking through social media and the big brother people who run social media. They are affecting your behavior and your opinions. That's what they do. That's what they are for. Um, Advertising does this, marketing does this, politicians do this all the time. They're trying to create a society of people who think the same, not just within the country, but within the whole world now. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's easy that they do this, it's quite easy, but I am so happy to say, that as we rush into this 21st science fiction Big Brother century, storytelling is alive and well, and there's a huge resurgence of storytellers, especially in India, where we've had so many storytellers on the program, and youngsters 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and the oldest we've had is 96 years old. So that's a great age group of people who are interested in stories. But why stories? It's because when we communicate with people, we tell them a story. We listen to their story. So if I was to ask you, what did you do this morning, or what did you do at university this week, or at school this last week, what did you do? You would tell me the story of what you've been doing. And we understand, as human beings, we understand things in stories. This is the way we do things. Bullet points can reach two areas of the brain, Broca's area and Wernicke's area of the brain. But when a storyteller, or when you listen to a story of something happens, all areas of the storyteller is switched on, all areas of the brain, but so are all areas of the listener. All the time. This work has been proved over and over again with lots of probes on people's heads and things, and they've proved it over and over again, as if we needed proof of such a thing. Actually, it's really there. So storytellers rule the world. This is true. It depends on who's telling you the story, though. You can get some really bad people telling lots of stories on the media, and you accept it sometimes. Hopefully you don't always, but they tell you these things. And there are some good people who are telling you stories too. At your first clue, you should always look to see who it is that's telling you the story. And as the song goes, some won victory, some won downfall, private reasons, great or small. You can see it in the eyes of those who call. So you always can. You could see, just remember those things. Fortunately, storytellers are free thinking, hopefully, and hopefully the listeners are. As I want to point out straight away to you, it's marvelous that a little fairy tale can produce an Albert Einstein, a professor of Einstein. I want to mention this because Einstein, this is a story for you, and I hope you listen to it, and I know you will understand it and remember it forever because I've told you it as a story. A lady asked Professor Einstein, possibly the greatest brain, intelligent person of the last century, and they asked him, "Sir, how can my child be intelligent like you?" And he said, "Madam, if you want your child to be intelligent, read them fairy tales." And the woman looked at him, and so did the audience, thinking, what on earth are you talking about? But sir, he wants to be really intelligent like you. He wants to be a professor. He wants to be a genius one day. So he said, "Madam, if you want your child to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales." And the reason, because the areas of the brain, all the different areas of the brain that light up and exercise and work and get cleverer and better and make all the connections, are the same areas that listen to fairy tales. Those are the same areas that make you a genius, that make you intelligent, that make you clever, that make you a professor, that make you a doctor, that make you a scientist, that make you an artist. Same areas. And areas there somewhere to see it. If you want your child to be intelligent, tales, etc. So if someone like Professor Einstein says so, really must be true. Really must be true. Otherwise, why would he say it, really? So it's wonderful that Einsteins are around. But as human beings, we need to communicate with others. We're not much good otherwise. We like to talk to people and they like to talk to us, to listen. And the brain is hardwired to listen to stories. All public speakers, all media people, salespeople, politicians, etc., they're all taught to pepper their speeches, their talks, their presentations with little anecdotes, with little stories, just to get you to listen. And you will remember the anecdotes, you will remember the stories. Often you will hear a politician who will be saying something, 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 something. And then you have a little aside where it's almost like a joke that he said. That's the thing that you remember. And that's the thing that he wants you to remember. It's written into the speech purposely. It's written into the speech purposely. Very few politicians ever write their own speeches. My old work as a public relations consultant for corporate level, I had to write all of these speeches for all of these people. And I even taught them how to dress and which profile to look, this side or that side. And if it's a serious thing, to wear shirt and tie. If it's not so serious, to wear an open shirt, open collar, all of these things to wear, and the colors to suit them. We even had to sort all of that out of them. So really, without somebody telling them what to do, they're not that good. They're not that good. Words can, spoken word, written word, can have a profound effect on you that would last the whole of your life and affect all things that you do. You've got to remember who said it to you, though, and think about that. Let me think. You can look for the things that people do to convince you. Let me give you an example, a good example of how things work all around the world and all kinds of senses. Watch. I don't know if you can see this, but there you go. At the top there, that's your thinking. The normal things that we have all the time. Here is your storeroom, your subconscious area where everything you've ever learned, smelled, tasted, thought about, seen, all those things are stored in there. It's only the top shelf that comes out and leaks a little bit into your thinking. So whatever's going on into your thinking, it's just a little bit leftovers from here that comes out. All those songs that's in the back of your head, the sentences, the things, the little bits of here, the little bits there, we call yama yama, that's your thinking. But if I can affect your thinking here, I could give you the urge to do something. And when you have the urge to do something, you do it. And then when you do it, it is recognized by you physically, mentally, emotionally that you've done it. And then it goes back into the room here, into your subconscious, your unconscious memory. And it comes floating up to the top. It goes in stronger and it starts affecting your thinking. So in the past, we had bad people like Adolf Hitler in Nazi Germany in the 1930s, who kept telling people and tried to affect their thinking that the Jewish people are bad. Didn't work really, but it kept on about it and on about it and on about it and didn't let anyone else say anything else. No TV, no nothing was allowed. So they give them the urge to do something, and they started breaking windows of Jewish shops and things like this and making them wear a yellow star on their shirt. They did it, and somehow or other, they felt good about it. And then it went stronger, and they got worse and worse and worse. But it could go the other way. If I put in things here like doing a visualization, a meditation, where you imagine yourself walking through pale blue mountains, following a pathway between the clouds, the sun is warm and bright, and you notice how the breeze flows in your hair, and you wonder why you never noticed it before, and how beautiful the colors of the flowers are. And I wonder what those colors, what those flowers are, what are their names? This gives you the urge to go to places like that, to notice things like that. And when you do notice, it is recognized and it goes in the storeroom, and you start doing it even better. You become a much more relaxed, confident person. So positive thinking gives you a positive urge, gives you positive things to do. It is recognized positively, goes back into your body positively. So if you're writers, you are performers, you are storytellers, you are artists, you are students studying for exams, well done. You are positive. You are positive. And that's how we all do. And this is how the media works. This is how advertising works. This is how public relations work. This is how politicians work. They all try to do that same thing. And you can see it happening all the time. You can see it. Don't much because they're doing it all day long. You don't. I'm happy that even though we're moving into this homogenized society, that we are got some revolutionary storytellers who will change the world, like the storytellers of the past. In the past, we had people like Buddha, we had Krishna, Shiva, everybody, Jesus, Lao Tzu, Confucius, all of those people who told stories. Why? Because people didn't write so much. Why? Because brain is hardwired for stories. And why? Because you will always remember the story. And that story affects your thinking, on and on and on and on and on. They were good at it. They were great at it. They were the best at it. And they affected our way of thinking. So I'm happy to say storytellers are emerging so well and so great. And you've seen nothing until you've seen the expression on a child's face or someone's face when you've told them a good story and you've made them think about things. Most stories have morals, and you're teaching them good things in the end. You don't have to ask them what was good about it. They just internalize it. They know. And I'm so happy that they are here to counter Big Brother. Well done, all you storytellers. Well done, all you speakers. We need you. We need you. It's the power of words. If you're a speaker, you know, you can do all kinds of things. If you're a speaker, you can write. If you are a writer, you can speak, you can tell stories, you can write novels, you can make movies. You can affect the world. Have I got my 20 minutes? I cut out a great section in the middle. I
Well,
cut out a great section in the middle.
I think, Tony, they are all engrossed. So I think you can continue for another 5 minutes just to.
Ah,
What about your journey?
cool.
Please do so.
About my um okay, because I know I could tell you all day long about me, but I don't want to do that. Basically, you can ask me later. I'm
So,
old, so I've done a lot of things. That's what happens when you get old. You find that you've done lots of things, lots of things. You didn't know it at the time. We went past too quickly. But yeah, I've done quite a few things, and they've all affected me, and they've all made me a storyteller. But let me see. How can I affect your mind? How do we do it? We do things like there are phrases, conscious distraction. So when I'm talking to you, you're listening, you're conscious of what I'm saying. But if I can distract you with something and then let the words come in that I want to come in, This is called conscious distraction. So it's more like a politician who will be telling you blah, 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 blah. And you go, oh, I'm getting tired of this. How long is it going to be? And then he'll say something as a joke. But that's the thing he wanted to tell you, that little thing there. This is the message that he wanted to get across. This is called, look over there. See? Gotcha. Conscious distraction. There's another one. Let me see. Conscious suspension, but we don't do that much anymore. That was in the olden days, when the days 1950s, 1960s. Excuse me. When they used to try, sorry, when they used to try to suspend your thoughts for a while, and while they were suspended, they would pass into your brain the things that you wanted. This was subliminal messages in television or radio or music. There was a time during the 1970s, 1980s when musicians were asked to create a piece of music, and then inside that piece of music there would be words. Like supermarkets would do it a lot. Supermarkets will play Christmas music for everybody at Christmas time. That gets you in the mood anyway, but then they would have Christmas messages inside the music that would say, Christmas only comes once a year. It's good for the children. Let's spend all the money we've got and not bother with the bills. We can pay the bills, electricity, the gas next year. We just spend all the money and have a great time at Christmas. You won't hear those words because they are stretched out and covered with music and a beat. So you won't hear it consciously, but inside, subconsciously, unconsciously, you will hear it and it will affect you. So this is, but we're not supposed to do that anymore, but there might still be someone. And the other one, the real one, which is really good, is conscious acceptance, which means you're listening, you're conscious of what I'm aware, what I'm saying. And then when you start to agree with things, oh, actually, that's quite a good idea. I never thought of that. Oh, yes, he's right when he says that. I agree with that. This is conscious acceptance. Therapists do this all the time, all the time. Therapists will do this all the time. They will sit you on a couch and listen to your woes and suggest things to you and say things to you. And because of his nice voice and his nice manner, and you trust this person, you start to agree with him very readily. He knows you will. Might not do anything now about it, but they will later. One of the things the therapists do a lot and is smokers, right? They will lie you on the couch and they will say things like, you know, I've been listening to you and you're a very intelligent person. I like when you come into my office. I like when you come into my room and we have good conversations. I think you're very intelligent. Oh, that makes you feel good straight away. He said, you know, your only fault really is smoking, but have you ever thought, you know, sometimes when you've only got 10 minutes and light a cigarette just because you won't waste that 10 minutes, I'm sure you've got more things to do with yourself in 10 minutes than just light up a cigarette. You're more intelligent than that, aren't you? After all, this cigarette just looks like a piece of chalk. It's not really very good at all. I think you're better than that. And then he will talk more. And when you go out, you think nothing's happened. But later, something happens to you and you say, oh, I've got 10 minutes to wait for our bus. Oh, what can I do now? Oh, yeah, I'll have a cigarette. Then you start thinking, I don't know if I really want a cigarette, really. You know, maybe there's nothing more I could do than have a cigarette at this time. What's going on? What's happening around me? You know, what can I see? What can I do? And you change your thinking. That little seed that therapist made you accept has grown, and it will continue to grow as long as you keep feeding it. Give you a story to finish with. Native American story. A grandfather takes his two grandchildren into the forest and sits them down and tells them, grandchildren, I have a war going on inside of me. You see, there are two wolves living inside of me. One is bad, who does nothing but bad things and thinks bad and does bad and wants to do bad. And the other one is good, who does nothing but good things and wants to say good things and do good things all the time and think good things. But Daddy, which one is going to win? Granddad, which one is going to win? And he replied, the one you feed. Native American wisdom, good little story. The one you feed is the one that's going to win. And that's true. Feed yourself with good things, you become a good person. If you want to be an artist, hang out with artists and learn all the things from them. If you want to be a musician, go and meet some musicians and hang out with them. If you want to be a singer, hang out with the singer. If you want to be a writer, hang out with the writer. If you want to be an intelligent person, hang out with other intelligent persons. And I can tell you now, I have never met any professor in his 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s who didn't like to hang out with people who were in their 15s, 10 years old, 20 years old, 25 years old, as long as they were intelligent like him. And he would listen to them all day. That's what professors do. They like things like that. So don't be afraid of them. They are really, really interested in you. They're interested in you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
Ta-da.
so much. Yeah, and I think all of you, if you have loved this story telling, just send a clap on the reactions. I would like to see every one of you giving that to him, because the way I was completely,
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
yeah.